Greetings, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racers Group Wednesday Intermediate Formula 4 Racing on SMB. J.R. Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, my partner, Kenan Miller, and in the production facility, whispering those sweet nothings that I never understand, our producer, Mike Braun. And we are at week 7, brings us to the Mobility Resort Motegi, formerly known, of course, as Twin Ring Motegi. It's a motorsport facility located in Motegi, Japan, unique for housing both a 1.5-mile oval and a 3-mile road course within the same complex. While the oval initially drew the most attention, the road course has become a staple in international racing, particularly for motorcycle championships. Built by Honda back in 1997, the primary goal being to bring IndyCar racing to Japan, and they did succeed in that. Kart Series ran here from 1998 to 2011 until that earthquake actually damaged the oval course. That canceled the race, and it has never come back. But since 1999, this track has been key in MotoGP, is referred to as the Honda Home Grand Prix. And this is one of a couple tracks. You probably know Suzuka, built by Honda as well. But Motegi hosts a lot of stuff, Super GT, Japanese Formula Nippon, now Super Formula, and other national level series. So Kenan, this track, I think, may be one that is not used a lot. I'm seeing a pretty broad spread of times on the timing tire so far in practice. That usually means that there hasn't been a lot of practice put in, and the track hasn't gotten a lot of use. And my goodness, look at that track map. It is accelerate, jam on the brakes, accelerate, jam on the brakes, kind of over and over again here. So these drivers are going to be busy tonight.
Yes, they will be busy. Thank you, JR. And yeah, I was just looking at the timing board as you mentioned it, and you're right, between all the classes, it's almost a 4 to 5 second split throughout the field. So I don't think many drivers are very used to the track, very comfortable with it. I know there's been a lot of cars out on practice the whole session, so hopefully they're getting a little better with it. But the course, it's very flat, and you're right, it's a lot of straightaways and a lot of hard turns. There's a lot of passing opportunities, but it's in very hard braking zones, especially turns 1, 3, 5, and then the last hairpin at 10 before the longest straightaway on the track. That's where you're going to probably see a lot of different action. Hopefully nothing like we saw in the opening lap last week at Phillip Island.
Yeah, and there was a little bit of carnage on that opening lap, and there has been some disciplinary action taken as a result of that big pileup going into turn 3 at Phillip Island. And I'm not going to name any names, but the driver's initials are Chris Cook, and he's going to be starting from the back tonight after causing that being judged. I didn't judge it, but being adjudged by league officials to be behind that kerfuffle that we saw on lap 1. And taking a look now at who is that in the 44 car? Is that Diego Posada, with the little Lewis Hamilton-esque livery there, wheeling that F-4 car around here. And yeah, it appears, man, we haven't talked a lot about tire wear, Kenan, in these races because they're so short, but I'm imagining that these fronts are going to get pretty hot during this one.
Yeah, I think it's tire wear may not come into an issue, but if you see a lot of drivers, especially the fast ones, are achieving that lap time through using it hard on the brakes, you're going to get a lot of front end heat, and that's definitely going to make it start sliding throughout the 20 minutes. It's still such a short race. I don't expect it to be anything crazy. But anybody locks it up and slides it too many times, they'll certainly be feeling it.
Yeah, and of course, if you're just joining us, folks, our longtime fans will be sick and tired of me talking about this. But if you happen to be just joining us for this Formula 4 action brought to you by Sim Racers Group, damage here is off. So this is a learning league event for these guys to kind of get their feet wet in open wheel racing, and it's more about seat time than precision. If you've driven these cars out in the wild, you know they can be quite fragile. A little bit of wheel banging can break that suspension and put you on the tow truck, but not a problem here. So these drivers are free to roll the dice a little bit more than they might on the public servers. They're free to bang a little bit, and if they slide off and happen to hit a barrier, the little magic repairmen will pop out, put those cars back together, and they will stay underway. And we've talked about it before. It's actually a pretty good idea. And on some of these tracks, on a track like this, we're starting with 27 cars after a 20-minute sprint, I wouldn't think half the field would remain if damage was on. So keeps everybody in there, keeps everybody running, having fun, and learning how to get better at these F4 cars. And Sim Racers Group does kind of see this as a ladder. They have an F3 series that is going to be hitting the ground in a big way next season, and this is kind of the stepping stone, the introduction, as it is in real life, frankly, to open wheel racing. So great stuff out here. Practice winding down, about 3 minutes remaining, and then we will go into an open qualifying session, which I think is another pretty good decision, reflecting kind of real life conditions and adding some strategy. And you see Josh Leslie there off in the kitty litter and leaving some behind on the track. That new iRacing damage model going to work there. But as I said, a lot of motorcycle racing here, and where you have fast motorcycles, you got a lot of kitty litter. So we're going to see some sand flying through this one, more likely than not.
Yeah, you can see it all over the track in a lot of the corners. There's not much runoff and a lot of sand, and they may have to spend a little bit of time before we go qualifying, just sweeping up all the marbles off the track. It's quite dirty out there, so you'll see it. And then just to kind of bring up with the 20 minutes, like you're talking about, the no damage, these cars do get penalized. It affects the race drastically going off course, as you see Joshua Leslie making a great save to not turn that car all the way around, quite frankly. But you're getting a time penalty. If you go off track, it's going to take you a while. And no full course cautions on in this race. It's a big hurt to your run.
My goodness, Leslie's car there snapping, and him showing quick opposite lock there. I'm not sure what caused him to lose it there initially. He might be playing around with his brake bias a little bit there, but showing the fast hands to collect that one. Leslie, incidentally, currently sitting in P10 overall and in P1 in the intermediate 2 class. So he is the hot shoe in that class. And speaking of hot shoes, we got a new participant, Skylar Vickroy, currently sitting in P2. You see them there on the timing tower, designated by the orange. He is an Inter 1 driver and a brand new Inter 1 driver, and sitting up there between Poborgi and Case. He may not be Inter 1 for long.
Actually, maybe possibly getting news that I believe he may have already been upgraded to Inter Alien before this race goes green. Reading through the chat, it looks like the captain, Jason Kocher. Congratulations, Skylar Vickroy. You are Inter Alien. So I think he may have moved his way up into some tougher competition before the green lights go out tonight.
Oh, all right. So, Mike, we'll give you 45 seconds to go ahead and fix our timing tower so that that's accurate for the race. But we'll keep that in mind. Vickroy upgraded, so that's going to put Wang, Quirwin, and Kocher there as 1, 2, and 3 and Inter 1. And they're oh my God, he did it. Would you look at that?
Wow.
Way to rise up, Mike. I thought I was giving him a hard time there, and he was like, oh yeah, watch me do it. He did it. So our new alien Vickroy, properly designated there by the red marker on our SMB timing tower. And as it winds down, Poborgi, frequent flyer up there at the front of this field. Stephen Case, also a frequent flyer, did have the championship lead early on, but missed a couple of races. So we will show you those current standings a little bit later. But frequent flyers again in the inner 2s there. Again, the orange or yellow markings, Wayne Corwin and Kocher. And then we have Leslie Brashear and Jose Navas there, 1, 2, and 3 in practice in Inter 2. So we're going to take a breath here and get the cars out on track for quali. And as I said, here are your standings. Case having dropped there. He was well in the lead, but right now it's Mikovits from Poborgi, from Case, from Velasco, from Oladipo, from Chris Eggert, and that is your whole Inter Alien class, the smallest of the 3 groups here. In our next class, it's Corwin from Kocher, from Tyrone De Silva, from Chris Cook, from Adrian Lopez, your top 5 in Inter 1. And Inter 2, our largest field by far. You got Bujak from Duval, from Jason Trantham, from Cardenas, from Navas Molina, Van Wagner, Posada, Conway, Grinsky, and Brashear there in your top 10. And you see the rest of our huge field of Inter 2 competitors there, 28 of them have scored 24 of them have scored points so far this season. So there are your standings. Oh my goodness, there's some excitement there. But there are your standings, and qualifying now underway. You see the timer there. We're 1 minute into a 15-minute session. And Ken, what do you think? You got money on tire changes during this one, or are these drivers better off staying out on this fairly long circuit?
I would think if you lock up the tires, you're going to want to put fresh set on. I love the way the corners kind of work here. You do want a little bit of heat in the tires, but the drafting, you've got a couple long straightaways. The drafting's not going to be too much in effect like we've seen at several of the previous tracks we've been to on this tour. I think getting a good clean run so you're not having to slow up for anybody ahead will be important. And you see Skylar Vickroy there. He's kind of doing some weaving, getting some heat in the tires. I think that's going to help you be a little faster for these quick hot laps.
Yeah, it does take some time. These cars are quite light, so it does take some time to get these tires lit up here, and they definitely have plenty of time. And as we get underway, and 14 corners here, Ken, and look at that track map. It's pretty illuminating. No two of these corners are alike, and obviously Honda put this thing together with that in mind. It's a highly technical circuit, about every kind of corner that you can ask for. There's a little S there, kind of reminiscent of Suzuka. That last little section, very challenging to get it woed up before that right-hander onto the pit straight. And really not a super long straight, one hairpin there, and a lot of braking zones. We were talking about this prior to the broadcast, and it is possible that there could be some dives here tonight, but we'll monitor that for you and see what unfolds.
Yeah, hopefully we don't be calling it a dive bomb as a broadcast, but there will definitely be some moves made to the inside of some corners, especially like I highlighted turns 1, 3, 5, and then that final hairpin at 10. But it's not a whole lot of elevation change to it. It's very flat, so it's a lot of balance to the car. You can't turn in too much and be on the brakes too heavy. You'll lose the car. You turn in and carry too much speed, the rear end's going to want to go around on you. There's multiple ways to really lose control at a technical track like this.
An interesting layout there. I don't know if you, I'll try to point it out again, but if you saw them going under an overpass right there, that's actually part of the oval. The oval and road course kind of lay on top of each other. So pretty interesting setup, and certainly creative, especially for its time. And it's a shame about that oval. I actually didn't know about that until preparing for the broadcast today, that earthquake damage had taken that oval off of the IndyCar calendar. And back when CART was running here, it was the only IndyCar race outside of North America. And just a little hello and howdy. And I'll see if we can get those cars disconnected. And again, no damage, so they'll be back underway. But that cloud of smoke can't be good for those tires, can it?
No, it's not. They're going to have to reset, get the tires warm. They've still got plenty of time, 10 minutes, 2 minutes a lap. There's still 5 laps out there. They've got all the time they need right now to still put in a good qualifying run. But that's definitely one you're going to want to just refresh and start clean on. You're going to see a lot of that. Joshua Leslie there, the way he lost control, I think that was more of a braking than a speed issue. I think he just got on the brakes too hard, and when he did put a little bit of turn, it was just too fast, just shifts the weight right around. These cars are very difficult to control. Even though it looks easy, they appear like maybe they're moving a little slower and they've got a nice front and rear wing on them. They're really quite a handful through flat hand corners like this.
Yeah, and the qualifying lap's starting to come in. And look at Velasco throwing down a huge heater, almost 153 flat. And my goodness, that lap is probably clean. I mean, I guess there's a couple of places here to get a draft, but it's not a draft-heavy track like Fuji. So Velasco showing what he's got going on, and he's flying so far.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see where Skylar puts in his time, and then same with Baborgi, because they were running in the 151s. I don't know if they'll get quite back to that in the practice session, as there's been a little more rubber put on the track, but I'm kind of thinking pole time may break over the 152s and into the 151.9s. Still a lot of time to be found out there, I think.
Yeah, there definitely is, and those hot laps in the practice session may have involved a lighter fuel load. Hard to say. This is a fixed setup event, and if somebody knows if they have a separate quali set up with less fuel, you can let me know that. But I imagine that they don't. Typically in these fixed setup races, they don't. So they're out there heavy right now, and they may not get near their qualifying positions. Track temp pretty mellow. It's about 82 degrees. A little on the humid side, but nothing too crazy. You can see it's overcast, so it shouldn't be excessively greasy, which is probably good for these drivers because this track is a hairy handful. And there's Vic Roy right on cue. Kenan wanted to see him do something, and he said, okay, let me take a half second off of Velasco for you. And now we're down to 152.5 on the pole.
Yeah, you could see him. We were showing him a little bit on the broadcast, and he was definitely on the outlap and probably even that first lap into his qualifying run. He was taking it very slow, taking it easy, getting the heat in the tires. He'd let several cars go by ahead of him so they could get their times in, and then looks like going in that final set of corners, he just decided to start taking off and put down best time of the board so far with just about halfway through qualifying.
Yeah, nearing the halfway point, and so far it's Vic Roy from Velasco from Oladipo here, and on the that's 1, 2, and 3 in Alien, and we got Corwin from Wang from Kocher 1, 2, and 3 in intermediate 1, and intermediate 2 it's Bujak from Grinsky from Navas, who just jumped up I think there as I was talking. So these lap times are going to continue to fall. I know that Case wants to move up, and I doubt that he wants Vic Roy to have his debut off the pole, so these guys are going to be gunning for him for sure.
And it looks like Paborgi's back out on track. I don't know if he's having a mechanical issue. They had to work on the car in the garage for a little bit, but I do see he has yet to post a time the whole session, and it does look like he's back up to speed out on track. So I'd pay attention to see what his lap time comes in at. I think he'll definitely be looking to run to the front. And Chris Wang with a really huge time there, putting second on the board. Wow, that was a good lap. He almost tested Skyler for the pole on that.
Yeah, and speaking of missing aliens, there's Mikovitz's first lap. He jumps up to P5, and he also had not set one. Paborgi is out there, but no laps on the board yet, so it's Vic Roy from Oladipo from Oladipo, from Mikovitz, 1, 2, and 3 in Alien, then Wang from Corwin from Kocher in Inter 1, Navas from Bujak from Grinsky in Inter 2. And that is, we're at 8.5 minutes now, so about 6.5 to go. Plenty of time left. And as we burn off fuel, get those tires going, we may see these cars approaching their practice times. It looks like Vic Roy, it was showing he was pitting in and now showing an outlap. I don't know if he crossed the pit entry line or something. That's an error on our timing board, but Vic Roy may have stopped for rubber here.
Yeah, it looks like he did. He must have either stopped or reset, put 4 fresh ones on. He's got enough time to probably do a good 3-lap run and get a fast time. So I think he doesn't. I think he knows he left a little bit out there even with his full time lap right now.
And look at Wang. He is looking good. We've seen Wang kind of hanging around with the pros the last couple races. I remember that he was within shouting distance of a podium overall at Fuji. So he is definitely a hot runner, and he's showing it here, only 68 thousandths off of Vic Roy's current pole at 152.5. So Wang looking good out there. He has found his groove, and as we were saying before, pretty big spread, and I'm not going to count. I'll chop the outliers off the bottom, but even down to Suresh Kumar, it's a 6.5 second spread between pole and the bottom of the grid. So this track proving difficult for these drivers to get consistent on and gain mastery of.
Yeah, I am trying to still figure out. I'm trying to do some research here on what happened to Danush Paborgi again. We're waiting to see what his time looked like, and he kind of just came to a stop there on the straightaway and did not post a time. I wonder if he's having trouble maybe putting that car right on the edge of the curbs and catching an off track, and they're not allowing his time to post. But very odd there. The fastest car in practice has not been able to post a time yet with just 4.5 minutes left in qualifying.
Yeah, and we're seeing Paborgi there in that 023 car. And according to our stats, which may or may not be accurate, he's showing 3 off tracks. And he certainly had time to put down more than 3 laps. So not sure what is causing his struggles today. And meanwhile, Stephen Case heard us talking about him and smoked Victor Roy's pole lap by almost 0.6. So Case is back. Like I said, he missed a couple, but he was always at the front vying for the victory and sitting in provincial pole right now with about 4 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think he knows the last two races, for whatever reason, of not being able to start, has set him back a little bit, and I think he's ready to jump back in and take his reign at the top of the throne. And that's quite a quick lap, almost breaking into the 151. So I think we know Skylar Vicroy thinks his car's got a little more in it, but we'll have to see if he can get it done with a little bit of time left on track, as you see a couple cars going by. I think that's what's really struggling with some of these fast lap times, is trying to maximize everything you can out of the line on a flat track, and you can't really lift to kill the momentum, but if you go wide and get that off track, I think it just ruins your lap. So
we're going to take a quick spin around the track with Borgi, and Borgi's still not setting a lap. I saw him in a little bit in the dirt, and he's in the dirt again right there. That had to be an off-kin, and this track is fighting Borgi and winning so far, as Borgi still not able to put down a lap, only 3 minutes left. And you see him highlighted there. He's about, I'm going to say about a third of the way through the lap, maybe about half the way. But he's only going to have one more crack at putting a lap down, or he's going to be starting from the back. I guess sometimes that can be fun to drive in what we call a target-rich environment, but I kind of doubt that's how he wanted his qualifying to go.
yeah, no, I don't think so at all, as you see him getting ready to go into turn 9. And he's definitely trying to get the most out of it, but unfortunately, out of control doesn't always get you a time. And I think he should be able to get one more run. I think he got an off track there when he was going through 3 and 4, but I think he had to stay in it so he knew he could cross the line and at least have enough time to get one more lap. He actually may be able to get 2 more laps in here with the timing as he crosses the line with just over 2 minutes left in the session.
So, and forgive me, was that the start-finish line that he just crossed? Okay. So the start-finish is not on the pit straight. Okay. Well, that'll
yeah, we'll learn on that. I was quite confused with that. So yeah, he will just get 1 lap left. So this will have to be his flyer if he wants to put something up.
Yeah, and he went wide again there. And I apologize, folks. I have not had an opportunity to get out here, so not really able to comment on the track limits. Borgi definitely getting in the grass there, which, sometimes they will let slide depending on the track, and I really can't illuminate that on this track for you. But once again, Borgi still not able to set a time. You see him smooch the grass a little bit there, little snap. He snapped in the same place last time and caught it both times, but not the fast way around. Velasco has thrown down a heater and snuck past Vicroy. Now it's Case from Velasco from Vicroy up top overall. Wang from Corwin from Lopez still in P1. Daniel Bujak from Brutsky from Novice in your intermediate 2 class. And we're getting very close to the end here. The way the league is set up, if your lap is underway, when that timer hits 0, you will get to complete the lap. So our qualifying lap likely to stretch past the 15-minute timer that you see running on our SDK timing tower in the upper left of your screen. But so far, and Vicroy has thrown down another hot one, only 1/10 off of Case, and it is a good thing that he got promoted. I think the league organizers saw what he was doing out here in practice and said, "Oh no, you're an alien," and made it happen. He is right up there with Case, and Case is no slouch in these F4s.
Yeah, I think Stephen Case is definitely going to see a run for your money, and we've been in tune with Borgi this whole lap. It's looked very clean so far, so I don't think it's the fastest lap we'll see put on the board, but it's going to be much better than starting potentially 27th, and that's a little wide, but we'll just have to see if he posts a time. I mean, it looked like a pretty decent lap. But he's definitely struggling to keep it between the lines, and it doesn't look like they'll count the lap. Wow. So that's going to be a really tough run for Borgi to start from the back and get all the way to the front.
Wow, that is brutal. And my timing tower now saying that he had 5 off tracks there and must have come at the worst possible time. I think we caught the moment that killed that lap when you saw his tires dipping into the grass there. So I'm guessing that track limits may be strict here at this track as qualifying winding down. It's Case from Vicroy, from Velasco overall, and Aliens, Wang from quarter one, from Lopez in inter one, Grinsky, Bujak from novice in inter two.
Yeah, that's quite a surprising qualifying session for doing so well in practice. I can't believe somewhere he didn't get a safe lap time in, because he's really put himself in a tough race coming up, having to work his way through the entire field. That's really got me kind of stunned right now after watching that.
Yeah, that is wild stuff from somebody that has the skills of Paborgi. We've watched him week in and week out, and he's an excellent driver here. And sometimes the luck just doesn't work out, lack of practice, whatever it is, combining to knock Paborgi all the way to the back. So Cook is going to have company as they're charging up through the field together. And actually, that may be the best thing that happens to Cook tonight, is he gets to follow Paborgi up through the back of the field. And we'll certainly keep an eye on that for you. And running along with Josh Leslie right now, seeing if he can improve his current spot. He is at P4 in class P14 overall. And I'm going to say that no, that's not going to cause him to move up. So I think we're almost done with quali. The last car is moving there on our map and is past start finish. So we will have the grid for you here in a second and get this one underway.
Yeah, that was a very interesting qualifying session. It is a testament to what these drivers are having to do to get every ounce that they can out of this car. And being that it is such a flat track, it's hard to tell those sight lines. There's no real banking in any way, shape, or form that's going to help your car keep through the corners. So you're pushing on it and you're going wide. You lift to kill your momentum. You stay in it. You go wide. We'll have to check my notes. I don't know if the race does hold an incident limit or not, but if we saw 5 there in 15 minutes, it may come into play when you put other cars on track, how many people are running wide, collecting off tracks.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I don't know what the incident limit is, but I do know that they have one. We've seen a couple drive-throughs, so we'll see if we can get that information for you, and we'll have your starting grid up here in a moment. And bang, there it is. And man, that red mark next to Skylar Vicker, I am still stunned by Mike Braun's defense there on that little teasing I was giving him. But in any event, here's your qualifying results. It's going to be Case from Vicroy from Velasco up front. That's 1, 2, 3 in Alien. Then Corwin and Wang, 4 and 5, also 1 and 2 in their class. Oladipo there in P6. Lopez in 7. That is P3 in inter one class. Then it's Mikovits in P9 is Grunsky. He's a pole sitter in inter 2. Then Kocher. Then Daniel Bujak, P2 in inter 2. Ganesh, followed by Jose Navas in P13 overall. That is P3 in inter 2. Then Leslie Posada, Suresh Kumar, Cardenas, and Brashear. And we'll scroll that for you and try to get through the rest of it. Meyer, Duval, Swanbeck, Dan Clark, and Briette Hyde there in P23. Hagen, Van Wagner, Sumudio, and Glasser. And there is Paborgi, no time. Brutal. All the way back in P28, followed by Chris Cook serving his pennants from Phillip Island. Then Neil Day. I'm not sure if he's going to be on track or not. Interesting. Not sure what his situation is, but yeah, that is Stephen Case on your right in the 243 car, and he looks dead in line with Vicroy next to him. And maybe a quick track map, Mike. I think that Case is going to have, the outside entry into that first double right-hander. So he may be a little disadvantaged here off of the start. Vicroy may be able to squeak by him here on the start. And of course, no warm-up lap here and no traction control. So it can be a little bit of drama getting these things moving. Oh, well, you know what? My perspective is all wrong there. It looks like Case is going to have a nose ahead, and bang, we are green. And you see Vicroy squeezing over, and Case says, no, you're not squeezing me. I'm going to squeeze you back, and beats him to the apex of the first corner. And so far, it's Case from Vicroy, from Velasco, from Corwin. Meanwhile, Oladipo pushing his way past Wang up into P5, and a clean start so far. But Kenan, I don't think this one's going to stay clean.
No, we're definitely going to see some people getting tight, but they did have a very good clean start. Everybody got a little spread out. I was very interested. You can definitely tell that Stephen Case knows he's got a little competition behind him tonight. The way he made sure to ride Viceroy all the way down to that inside line going into turn one. He knows he's got a fight on his hands, and it's going to be lap after lap for the full 20 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually showing some respect to Viceroy. That big squeeze down to the inside, that was not the entry that Case would have wanted on a clean lap, but wanted to make sure he played defense and didn't let Viceroy squeak through there. And so far, Viceroy polishing Case's bumper like it's his job. That gap only 0.3 as they're beginning to pull, the two of them pull away from Velasco behind in P3. That gap already up to 0.7. So Case has got his hands full with Viceroy. And again, welcome to Viceroy into the series. That's always good to see somebody pressing the front runners, and we're seeing it here for sure.
Yeah, you know the SRG guys are definitely loving getting any more drivers they can add to the racing pool that only just increases the level of competition. I think they all look forward to having those kind of guys in there because it does nothing but push everybody in the league to get quicker, get better, and have another person to learn from.
And we're going to take a quick look at Poborgi getting off the line here. That is him in the red and black car. And starting all the way from the back. And I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positions picked up so far, and kind of muscling his way through the inner two field there. But he picks up a quick 5 in the first couple of corners. We'll keep an eye on him. Obviously, he's an early favorite for hard charger here. And as I look at him right now, he's sitting in P13. So Poborgi, despite that bad qualifying, has already made 15 positions, Kenny. We haven't even got a lap in yet.
Yeah, just display the hard charger there, and you see Posada. Collects, I believe that's Joshua Leslie that's on its roof. Big dust up there. That's quite a hard impact, though. Unfortunately, the damage getting fixed doesn't help if the car's upside down.
Yeah, and somebody misjudging that braking zone right there. That was a pretty hard hit from behind, and we'll get that back for you. But yeah, as Kenan said, that is the one thing that will foil the no damage model in iRacing. If the car is upside down, you're going to end up taking a tow, and that is going to kill whatever race you might have had at the time. Taking a look now, that is Case being chased by Viceroy, and the two of them have put a 3-second gap. They have dropped P3 Oladipo like a bad habit, and Viceroy now starting to see Case disappear a little bit down there. He's got that gap up to 0.6, so Case doubling that interval in about a lap's time, and Case does not want to give Viceroy a tow here. So if he can break that draft and make something happen in the infield, break that tow for the straightaway, he will have done what he needs to do here.
Yeah, you can definitely see. I don't know if Viceroy, how he really fell back half a second. I don't know. It did seem like he was pretty much nose to tail, and still very much is as they're going down into turn one. So we'll have to see. I don't know. Maybe he just got a little tight. Whether maybe he didn't want to stay too close for comfort himself. She may just be trying to kind of tag along, give him a little distance, and wait and see where they are about 15 minutes from now. But it's kind of interesting the way he fell off. It looked like he had a really good opening couple of laps.
And meanwhile, we're gonna show this crash. This may be that rear ender that we were looking at before, live on a little spinner, a synchronized spinning there, a sympathetic spinning. Yeah, a little over rotating that corner, and you try to you want guys to kind of experiment with trail braking to get around some of these low speed corners, but it's a delicate balance. And oof, that Fanatec car, a little optimistic, sticking it down the inside there. And taking a quick look at our lap times, Poborgi is now up 17 into P11 as we're looking at Kocher. Oh my goodness, he got Koch. He got Koch good that time. And my goodness, and was Poborgi the assailant on that one? So Poborgi is made the top 10. He's up 18 positions. His fast lap of 152.3 is faster than the P2 driver. And yeah, you see Poborgi there committing the offense. But Poborgi has lit the wick. Only Stephen Case is faster than him on the track right now, and he is making short work of working his way through the field. And where is our other driver that started way in the back?
I don't think is being scored at the moment, unless my timing might be incorrect.
Yeah, I don't see him out there. So, all right, well, we'll come back to that. But here is another look up front. That is Case from Vicroy. And like I said, they have dropped the rest of the field. It looks like Mikovits has got past Oladipo there, but the gap between Vicroy and Mikovits, 5 seconds after only 4 laps. So Case and Vicroy showing who the class of the field is, at least at this track. And it'll be interesting to see how that one goes over the long term. And here is a replay. We're going to look at Adrian Lopez here. And gosh, it looked like he had position there, just over-rotated a little bit across the apex. And we're kind of seeing that. With these fixed setups, maybe you might want to have a little more wing if you could choose, but you can't choose. And these guys are having a hard time keeping these F4 cars hooked up as these little spins are happening in these low-speed corners over and over again. You want to get on the throttle as early as possible, but you have to be patient. You have to time it right. Get on the throttle too early, and those little 160 horse 4-cylinders will send these things looping in a hurry.
Yeah, JR, I was going to comment when we were seeing, I think 3 or 4 replays in a row. I'm pretty sure all of those were in the exact same corner of 3 and 4. And seems like that's just a monster of a corner right now. It's just taking the rear ends and just throwing them around. And many drivers out there, it's they've got their hands full throughout.
And somewhere up front there, I saw a big hit with body panels flying. I'm not sure who that was. We'll see if we can figure that out.
Oh, it looks like it was Vicroy going for, just misjudged the lead and into the back of our race leader, Stephen Case.
Wow.
They're both involved.
Yeah, that is our P1 and P2, and that is going to drop them to 8 and 9. And I don't know, gosh, Mike, if I could see that from Vicroy's cockpit, something definitely went wrong there. And what looked like was going to be an epic battle up front kind of ended right there, 7 minutes into this one. And our two guys who were clearly faster and asking you shall receive. Here's Vicroy following Case, and bang! Oh my goodness! I don't know if Vicroy lost track of where he was, if Case broke early, but Vicroy clearly not on the brakes there when that impact happened as the top 10 streams past those two. Wow, that is nuts. And so that is going to give you Mikovits, Velasco, and Oladipo up front, 1, 2, and 3. And right behind them, 4, 5, and 6 are also 1, 2, and 3 in inner one. It's Corwin from Wang, from Ganesh, and Poborshi now up to P7. And he's had a couple elbows out moments, to be quite honest, but he's picked up 21 positions and is running, still has that fast lap of 152.3, which is pretty quick looking up and down the timing tower.
Yeah, I'm awfully confused on that contact between Case and Vicroy. I really don't know whether it was Case that braked early. It didn't seem like Vicroy was planning on braking anywhere near that moment and going in. It obviously was the hard downhill right-hand hairpin going into turn 10, but that has me quite confused. I mean, I guess they were past all the brake markers, so maybe just a misjudgment, a little bit lost. I mean, you see it all the time. You get two very fast drivers like that, and you start to zone in into just what you're doing, and sometimes the outside things go away, and next thing you know, you realize you're not even thinking straight. Mistakes can happen like that when you've got two guys pushing on each other. I will say, looking at the timing and scoring, it's possible Stephen Case and Vicroy could make up the 5 to 6 seconds. It looks like they're behind from the leader, Caleb Mikowitz. It's not even halfway through the race yet, and they did put 5 seconds on in about 7 minutes, so nothing's out of the question yet. It's definitely a little bit tougher of a ride to get back up there, though.
Oh, what are we looking at there? That is Case working his way back up and knocking off Poborji. And Poborji, not easy pickings by any means, but Case hurriedly trying to make happen what Kenan was calling there to try to get that 5 seconds back. Like Kenan told you, they managed to put 5 seconds, those two, on P3 P3 at the time. And so if they can put that kind of pace together again, they might be able to get back in podium position. But tick, 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 these races go by so quickly. Only about 9.5 minutes left to make it happen.
Yeah, I think Tom's really the biggest question here. You factor in having to pass essentially the fastest cars to get back to the front. They're not going to let you go by easy after you've had the mistake. So they're going to have their hands full, but it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility. We'll have to definitely keep an eye on that as they're coming back through the field. I think Stephen Case may be getting ready to make a move on Velasco here shortly.
Taking a look at Wang there, another great performance from him, and for the second time this season in position for potential podium. And there's Case now taking a little peek inside of Velasco. He's also has to cover Poborgi behind, and that is really going to compromise his line through there. It's going to give Poborgi the inside look in this next sequence. Oh, I thought Poborgi was going to be able to stick it in there, but Case manages to hold on, and I spoke too soon. Little commentators jinx their Case getting loose off in the grass. Poborgi is going to have the inside into the next corner here, and nonstop action with these guys. It looked like Case's action was going to be up front, but now he's found himself working his way back up. Oh, and a bad run there from Poborgi as Case is going to get through there. It looks like Vicaroy might follow him as Poborgi getting really loose on that exit, going wide, gets the position back, I think, from Vicaroy. But this is all happening so fast, I may have lost track of it, Kenan.
Yeah, that was our current 1-2. Vicaroy's gotten by Case now, and Poborgi's actually found himself pulling away a little bit as he has a little side-by-side contact there, I believe, with Velasco. You're going to see Vicaroy and Case looking on the inside to try and get by them as quick as they can. But it's actually Vicaroy was behind there a little bit. I think that little dancing session that Poborgi and Stephen Case were having allowed Vicaroy to get right back up into the fight for sixth.
Goodness, and look at this dicing side by side. Vicaroy showing that he belongs among the aliens, and a little wiggle there. And who is that purple car? Was that Velasco? Velasco with the big save there. He was about to send that car on a spin, and all kinds of action up front here in this one. Usually we get this kind of scrapping in the mid-pack, but it's all happening in the top 10 tonight. What great stuff.
Yeah, this has been really good racing. Having Case and Vicaroy fall back has obviously made it quite intense in the middle of the field trying to get back through. And you're actually kind of seeing, I think you're seeing some of these inter-alien drivers are watch them make their mistake, and they got by them. And I think they want to give them a fight now that they're not just walking away with it from the opening light. Yeah, and I think camera focus now on Vicaroy looking forward at Velasco, and Casey's got Poborgi behind him. And now we'll jump to Corwin, who's sitting sitting in a podium right now. That's overall P3 and P1 in inner 2, or inner 1 rather, as Mikovits kind of driving away off in the distance there. Mikovits managed to put down a 2-second gap, as Kenan told you, with all the scrapping going on behind him. That's fine with him, and that's what he loves to see in his rear view, as he's starting to drive away now, and time really running out for these other competitors. Corwin's got a nice gap behind him as well. Something has happened to Wang, though, as Wang drops down. He might have had an incident. Now it's Mikovits from Oladipo, and lost that for a second from Corwin, from Poborgi, Case, Velasco, and Vicaroy. Wang now all the way down to 8, and there it is. My goodness, these guys are really struggling to put the power down in some of these low-speed corners, and it was kind of what I was anticipating once I saw this track map, Kenny. Yeah, it goes right back to turn 3 again. It's just eating the rear ends of these cars alive. I wish I had started from the first lap putting a little tally after we've watched so many replays. I mean, that has to be the 9th or 10th spin we've just shown just on replays. The turn 3, the cars are going in there so fast down the straightaway, and you carry too much speed with the hard braking, and the rear end's just going right around on a lot of these drivers. It's probably been proven to be the most testing corner of this entire race. And you see the graphic there in the lower left. That is Corwin's actual expression right now, as he's sitting in P3 overall, P1 in class, with only 5 minutes left. He's got a nice escort there by Oladipo, and
Poborji behind about 3 seconds. Poborji could close that down, but Corwin just needs to keep his eyes forward, keep ticking off those laps, study Oladipo, and hang in there, and he'll have his best finish of the season.
Yeah, Corwin's having a great run, and I guess you have to think big picture. I do think Poborji is going to be able to get to Corwin, but he's still well in hand by 5 seconds over second place in the inner one groups of Christopher Wang back in 8th. So, I mean, even if you're 4th overall, you're the winner of the group you need to be racing, and that's really what you've got to be focused on. You don't want to get too caught up racing for 3rd overall and cost yourself the class win.
Yeah, absolutely, and Corwin would be wise to remember that. Poborji definitely has time to reel him in here. He's taking about a second lap out of him, but these laps are a little longer. They're almost 2-minute laps, and I don't know, 4 minutes left, probably 2 or 3 laps to go. Corwin could hang on, and as any racing driver would, probably wants to hang on to that. And there goes Posada now in that Lewis Hamilton car, making a move, getting past Swanback. Is that battle right there is for P17. It's Posada from Swanback from Cardenas, and another swap there between Posada and Cardenas. A lot of action all the way up and down this field, as is always the case in the Sim Racers Group Formula Ford racing. It's fantastic stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't matter whether the race is for 1st or 17th in this league. If you're out there and you're racing clean and competitive, there is somewhere on that track for you to have some really hard-pounding moves. And you see these 3 cars racing for 17th. They're having the time of their lives right now, trying to put it on each other, and they're all very equally matched right now. It's going to be a chess match coming down in the last 2, maybe 3 laps.
And I gotta say, I haven't done a lot of work with this track, and it's kind of fun how it appears to encourage side-by-side through the corners, except there's multiple lines through some of those long constant radius corners that are allowing some of this tight racing. Instead of lining up for those corners, they're willing to stick it inside and go side by side. Pretty interesting stuff. Here's Posada looking back at that 7 car of Dan Swanback sniffing around, and there's quite a group here packed together in that 15, 16, and 17.
Yeah, it's been really good racing, and I think it does, as you see, that Swanback went wide a little bit. He's going to get a peak, but I think he actually will be all right with the run. But Posada now able to break away a little more comfortably into the closing stage of the race. But the track does tend to allow the side-by-side racing just off of the design that, you know, you can kind of give up a little bit on the side-by-side, but the next corner is going to favor you back again. So it's a very back-and-forth track and really encourages some close, tight racing for open-wheel cars.
Yeah, and as predicted, Poborji has reeled in Corwin like a fat trout and is all over him. And Corwin just going to go, yes, sir. Pardon me, sir. Please go by without incident. And Poborji does. So Poborji has gone DFL. That means definitely far from the lead if you're not accustomed to racing lingo, all the way up to the podium, picking up 25 positions, now sitting in P3. And gosh, dare I say, 1.2 seconds up to Oladipo. Probably can't close that, but the way this race has gone for him so far, he might think that he can close it.
Yeah, and you know Poborji's there. He's driving just crazy right now, turning off probably the best laps throughout the entire field, and it does look like he had a lap almost 7/10 faster than the leader of Mikowicz right there. So he's definitely going fast. I think he's kind of kicking himself in the rear, though, that he wish he put together a better qualifying run. He probably feels like he's still giving up 2 positions he shouldn't have.
Oh, my goodness. And look how quickly he's got Oladipo, and he is the fast lapper, 151.6. And that is almost a second quicker than your current P1 runner. So, my goodness, Poborji is just on fire right now. Time running out, but I would imagine that he wants to take a crack at Oladipo here, and here it comes. Using the draft, Oladipo is going to cover the inside, and Poborji will swing around the outside, try to get a setup for the next corner. Poborji not giving up here. Can he finish this race 26 positions ahead of where he started? Oh, very close there, almost a little smooch. Poborji has the inside line, and Poborji barges through. How many colors of paint are on that F4 car? I bet every color of the rainbow, as Poborji has gone all the way through this field, elbows out like a hot knife through butter. Holy cow.
Yeah, he definitely knew he had to take it, and he had to take it now. He's running good. I think he's run out of time to be able to get to Mikowitz. You never know. We could see it, but I think Oladipo getting through while he was past. He touched the curb. He got a little loose. I think he thought better of it. They almost had that side-by-side, decided to let Paborjan through and make sure he secures a nice, decent finish, doesn't have a mistake here in the winding laps.
And looks like we may go a little long here. Let's see. I don't think the white flag is out yet. And Mike, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Now, it looks like Mikowitz is going to... Oh, the white flag is out. All right. Well, we completely missed that. Here comes Mikowitz to take the checker. And again, a little confusing here. The start-finish is not on... Or the start line is different from the finish line? Okay. Showing my lack of knowledge of this track. But suffice to say, Mikowitz has taken the checker after a wild one up front. My goodness, that contact between Vicroy and Case completely changed the complexion of this race. So it's Mikowitz from Paborji from Oladipo there on the podium. And Paborji, give him another couple laps, and he would have had a crack at Mikowitz as well. Absolutely smoking fast. His best lap, 151.6. And I don't see any. It looks like Case out of 151.9, and those are the only 151s on the timing tower right now. So, my goodness, Paborji apparently not needing to qualify to almost win this one from the back. That was nuts.
Yeah, that was actually just an amazing run by Paborji. I mean, it carried his way entirely through the field. Kind of surprising that Vicroy wasn't able to get himself back up. It almost seemed like when there was that little race between Vicroy, Stephen Case, and Paborji, somehow Paborji managed to find a lot of speed out there and managed to leave Case and Vicroy behind when it seemed like they were the ones who were really running to get up front. So that was really a thrilling race, and Joshua Corn being able to beat a couple of the inner aliens that always makes you feel good when you're in a class below and you can put it on a couple of the guys better than you, or at least classed better than you, I could say.
Yeah, he's got to feel great about that. And also dropped Wang to a couple of seconds. So he had some aliens behind him and his competitors in his own class significantly behind. So Corwin putting on a great drive here. And in a race where a lot of the competitors were really struggling on this track. It's my first experience on this track. It's pretty interesting, made for some pretty decent racing, but definitely caused some struggles for some of these guys.
Yeah, and it looks like down here on pit road, I've been getting a little bit of reports on that incident between Case and Vicroy, and seems like Stephen Case maybe misjudged the brake marker that he was at and accidentally got on the brakes at the 150 when he meant to get on it at the 100. Just thought he was already at the right brake marker, got on too early, and that's what led to Vicroy running into the back of him seemingly at full speed with no brakes. So kind of clears up that on why that all happened, because it certainly had us baffled when that occurred.
Yeah, it had to be one of those things of somebody missing the brake marker. Either somebody was going early or somebody late. And a track like this, it's kind of, repetitive entries to these corners. You can sometimes forget where you're at. And that may have caught Case up, who managed to bounce back and come in P3. But there are your final results. As Mikowitz from Paborji from Oladipo is your overall 1, 2, 3, and of course 1, 2, 3 in the inter-alien class. Stephen Case in P4. Corwin hangs on for P5 and gets a P1 in his class, followed by Vicroy after having that little dust up with Case on that entry to that right-hander. Velasco will be in P7. Then your P2 in Inter 1, Chris Wang, followed by Ganesh in P3 or P9 overall. Adrian Lopez is P4 in class, P10 overall. Then your P1 in Inter 2, Daniel Bujak, followed by Jason Kocher. Then P2 in Inter 2, Grunsky Brashear. Now we're down to P15. It's Navis from Duvall, from Van Wagner, from Suresh Kumar. And after Suresh Kumar, it's Meyer, Swanback, Hyde, Cardenas, Posada, Samudio, Dan Clark, Glasser, Leslie, Hagen, and Day. And it looks like a few folks not finishing there and or maybe not starting. Is that plus 11 folks who didn't start? And that would explain Chris Cook just decided to hell with it. But gosh, it seems like if he would have tried to follow Paborji, he might have been able to make something happen there. But my goodness. So what are your thoughts on that one, Ken? That was a wild one.
Yeah, that was definitely an event-filled race. I mean, from start to finish, we really had it. It definitely started to feel like it was going to be a little bit of a runaway to what we had between the top two, and it was definitely going to be a thrilling fight. And then it seemed like the moment they got into the back of each other, it just set off everything throughout the race. That next thing you know, you've got some cars just really powering through hard, some hard racing, a little bit of side-by-side. We even saw a car go on its roof tonight, which is just, you don't always see that every week. So that was quite a interesting race. I know one thing I never really mentioned in the broadcast, but I was keeping an eye on him throughout it, was Thomas Brashear. Started in 18th and actually had a really good start within the opening lap, was up 5 positions. Ended up finishing 14th, only 4 positions from where he started the race. It seemed like he had a great opening lap, and then just couldn't really do much else with the car after that. So it was definitely a good race to watch. I think that was fun for all of us up here in the booth.
Yeah, good stuff for sure. And looks like we got a couple folks stopping by to chat with us here today. And we are going to go ahead and bring in Ope Oladipo. If I got that correct. I've been struggling a little bit with that one. Ope, it looks like you finished, where were you? Yeah, P3 overall. Managed to move up 3 positions and kind of benefited from a little bit of carnage on track, a little bit of a messy race here today. But how did that race go from your seat?
You got the name right. So, but it went well. I think I was very surprised by where I ended up. I have not felt very fast on this track and with this car combo. So yeah, I'll take it. I'm really happy.
Yeah, you did manage to make a lot happen there just by keeping it clean. Looks like your fast lap was a 153.2, which is a little over a second and a half off of Poborgi, but those guys couldn't keep it clean and you could. So that put you on the podium. Very good job there. So looking forward at the upcoming schedule, is there any track you're particularly excited about going to?
Let me pull it up the second. I think we have let's see, schedule.
I should have let you know there was going to be a pop quiz this evening for the interview session.
Okay, Oklahoma is one of my favorites. I like that, so I'm looking forward to that. Probably like it because it was free. It was free and like it's one of the free tracks, and so I definitely have like a few laps on there.
All right, well, cool. And are you talking to us from home or from the Sim Racers Group facility tonight?
I am home tonight.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, thanks for coming by and chatting with us, and really great job. Way to keep it clean and finish on the podium. A great drive. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
My YouTube channel, which is up and coming with like 20 subscribers. It's called Track Day Diaries. It's basically me and my Corvette on track. So yeah.
Oh, nice. So you're talking about real world.
Yeah, real world
Corvette racing.
Yep.
Oh, cool. So what's your favorite Corvette to take out on the real track?
The only one I have, which is the C8 Corvettes.
Nice. And
those are fun ones to watch.
Is it track days or is it race preps?
Yeah, track days, time attack. I think wheel to wheel for this car doesn't exist yet, but maybe in like 10 years progress towards there. But yeah, for now, just having fun.
Wow, great. And great motor in those cars. It must be an absolute hoot. What real life tracks do you take it to?
Laguna, Sonoma, Buttonwillow, and Thunderhill.
Nice. Wow. That is a great list and great car. So congrats on that as well. And repeat the name of your YouTube channel if people want to check out that you flogging that C8 around those classic NorCal tracks.
It's called Track Day Diaries.
Track Day Diaries. Well, check it out and watch Ope flog that C8. I'm sure it is worth watching that thing bombing down the corkscrew. And incidentally, if you're in the neighborhood, you should be able to find me sitting at the corkscrew about this time next week. So for ALMS. Well, Ope, thank you so much for coming by, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. right. And we also have waiting for us Rafael Cardenas. I think Rafael is currently sitting in the lead in Inter 2 and pulled off P22 overall today. Looks like you lost a handful of positions off of qualifying. So this race may not have gone awesome for you. It was a little messy. Did you get caught up in some of those problems that we saw on track?
Yeah, a little bit. It wasn't just bad timing, I guess. And I try to be as cautious as possible. I've been trying to work on my awareness and kind of just taking it a little slower than I usually do, especially off those starts. Those starts get a little chaotic.
Well, yeah, for sure. This is definitely a learning league. And one of the other guys on the grid, Ope, was telling us that he ended up on the podium by keeping it clean. So there is a lesson in that. This was a very messy race. A lot of guys had problems putting the power down. We saw a lot of spins. Kind of a tough track. What was your impression of the track? Did you enjoy driving on it?
Yeah, I enjoyed driving on it. I just do feel like there's a lack of traction on this one. Maybe it's because the track is so flat. There's not a whole lot of camber to the road surface here.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I was wondering if maybe a little bit more wing might have been in order. There were lots and lots of spins. I'm sure you'll watch the broadcast later, but your cohorts out there were having a hard time putting the power down. So interesting, and that's the fixed setup giveth and taketh away. You don't have to mess with it, but it may not be dialed in to suit your driving style. So I guess you have to make adjustments to that. So I'll pull the same pop quiz on you. I pulled on a previous victim up here in the booth. And is there any track that stands out on this upcoming schedule that you're particularly excited about?
I haven't had a chance to look at all of them. I did take a peek. None of them really stood out to me. I was actually trying to see if Thruxton and some other tracks were gonna pop up on the list. I didn't see anything. Some of the tracks I've had previous wins on, and kind of a little disappointed that I wasn't seeing anything familiar. So like all these tracks that are coming up, it's gonna be pretty new to me. This one I did once before, but that's about it.
Yeah, and you're following the Asia Pacific F4 schedule, I think. So there's a lot of tracks that don't get a lot of use. And I guess one that stands out for me is you're going to be returning to Australia for Bathurst. And it'll be interesting to see these F4 cars between the walls up on Mount Panorama. But in any event, as we wrap up, Raphael, thank you for coming by and chatting with us. Is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Oh yeah, as always, shout out Jason Kocher. He's puts everything together, makes this possible. Like at the time when I first found out about his location, the in-house racing, he was still pretty fresh. Like because periodically I search up I was searching up sim racing places to go to, but like nothing in the area, and then he suddenly popped up, and yeah, like he made it possible, got me into this, and I've been racing ever since. And like I'm into cars, and so like it does tend to translate to real life knowledge, and he's been giving me great pointers on like what to do. So like always a shout out for him, like in Sim Racers Group.
Yeah, that's awesome. And how cool that must have been when that Google search returned the Sim Racers Group facility near you there in San Jose. That is a sweet story. All right, man. Well, thanks so much for stopping by, and we will see you next week.
All right, for sure. See you again.
All right, man. All right. And that was Rafael Cardenas. And our last victim today will be Alex Velasco, managed a P7. And Alex, you were in the part of the grid today that was nonstop madness. There was some hella racing all around you, and a hella racing that you were involved in for a big chunk of that one. So how'd that race unfold for you?
It's definitely a battle. Just trying to keep everybody that's behind you. That's how defense works. But overall, I think I made a mistake in the beginning, and then it was just constant battling. Couldn't let up, but also it was probably one of the funner races that I've had. Pretty interesting rundown of battles. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a great race, and there's something about the track I think kind of encouraged a lot of side by side stuff that we haven't seen in previous races. It seemed like a lot of these medium speed corners had multiple lines through them that kind of would encourage you to go side by side, and it got so frantic that I'm not sure we did your part of the race justice, but you were definitely fighting hard there for a big chunk of it, and you got some screen time out of it. So very well done. And I'm not going to ask you the pop quiz question that hasn't been going over very well, but as we wrap up, is there anyone you'd like to thank or give a shout out to this afternoon?
Yeah, just I just want to thank you guys for putting on the show. It's been amazing, and at home, my buddy Kyle, he watches me race. He's my roommate, and he's been doing a lot of nice things for me lately, so I want to shout out him. He's been helping me build my sim rig, and now it's all set up, so I'm ready to pull some faster laps soon.
Oh, nice. So did you start out in the SRG facility and then set something up at home?
Initially, yes, but then I had a previous welded steel rig frame, and now I've got a protruded aluminum. It's kind of allows you to be more modular with it. I don't need to cut and re-weld things as I go along. It's more of like twist to loosen it, and it's modular.
Right. Well, yeah, and I've been there when something seems perfect, and gosh, I wish it could just move an inch. Let me just cut it off and tack it back on. Yeah, I feel you. Well, thank you so much, Alex, for coming by and chatting with us, and we will catch up with you next week.
Much appreciated. Thanks, everybody.
All right, very good. That was Alex Velasco, and he's somebody that the SRG folks would give a shout out to. He provides a lot of IT support over there at the SRG facility in the east side of San Jose. So really great stuff, a brick and mortar facility with 10 sim rigs lined up next to each other. You can show up there with your buddies and get involved in all kinds of mischief and mayhem on the track and off. So it sounds like those guys are having a great time down there. And Mike, what are we doing next? We want to talk about our new client. Yeah, Slow Motion Broadcasting is super stoked to announce a new series here. Extreme Motorsports are going to bring IndyCar racing to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and we're going to bring that to you starting tomorrow at Portland International Raceway, a stone's throw from where I'm sitting right now. A super fun track. Granted, it is it's no Nürburgring or VIR or a lot of other more complex tracks, but it is tricky, and there are nuances to it, and you got to love the cars bombing down that back straightaway. I stood up there on the berm next to a law enforcement officer with a radar gun and during an IndyCar race, and those guys get flying on the entry into turn 10. So it is going to be action-packed. Encourage you to tune into that one. That is tomorrow night here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. And speaking of that, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action. And somebody real quick whisper to me what the track is next week. Anybody?
We'll be at Oran Park, a real famous old Formula One track that I believe is no longer actually exists in the world. I believe it's been turned into a housing community, but thankfully, due to iRacing, we're allowed to remember and race on that track forever there at the Oran Park GP course.
Oh, yeah, Oran Park, it kind of preserved here in the Matrix. So that is back in Australia, right?
Yeah, I believe that is an Australian track.
All right, so back to the land of Oz next week here for Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Racing for Week 8. I'm going to be stepping out. As I said, I will be trackside at Laguna Seca. I've been dying to see those P1 prototypes in person, and I'm going to go do it. So I'll be back with you in 2 weeks. But as I said, more action tomorrow night. Watch that IndyCar race at Portland, a brand new series, great competitors, and it is going to be awesome. So, this has been week 7 from Motegi, and it was a wild one. Hope you enjoyed it. On behalf of myself, my partner, Kenan Miller, and our producer, Mike Braun, thank you so much for joining us, and hang in there. Weekend is almost here.